So I'm currently in my office, and I'm going through some of the video that we had here from a witness, and that's what you're about to see. I'm putting this together, and over the summer, a few of us had gone out to a person's residence where they were residing prior to some incidents that took place at their trailer. I will just say it's southern New York region, between Buffalo and Erie, southern tier. I don't like to give the exact area away, but yeah, that's what we did. We went here, we investigated some things. At first, some things kind of didn't make sense, and then we started putting things together, and we did a whole interview, and you'll be able to go ahead and see that, and hopefully it'll make sense to you. We were really intrigued by a few things, mainly the door being ripped off the hinges, because we weren't able to fully discern or determine what could have done that. And so it interested us, and her being of a good background and stuff like that, and her daughter actually living in the residence, we just we realized that it is more likely than not that something transpired. So with that, hopefully you like everything that you see.
There would have been nothing at like almost 3 o'clock in the morning. There would have been nothing that would have pulled that door off like that.
No storms or wind?
Nothing. This scared the living daylights out of me. Like I was telling Ryan, there's a door inside, here to open up, goes into our hot water tank, but this was all locked up. There is no way that this could have ever come off like that. Look at, there was no way. It was
decently hung. Was it locked at the time at the top? I see the locks.
Yep, absolutely. And this was, all nailed in here.
And it was locked at the bottom too.
Yep, this was all nailed in here, and all that was all secured. That's all pulled out in this whole thing. I couldn't even believe it. It scared the daylights out of me.
Yeah.
Me, Ryan, when I told you?
Yeah, something like that.
When do they usually have their babies? Like, is it early spring?
Nobody knows a definitive answer to that.
Like humans, or like deer in that? I'm just wondering. Because that's when I heard that crazy noise like that. It was so.
As far as gestation periods, they would have to have something similar, maybe as a gorilla or a deer or some other mammal. So nobody really knows for sure. Right.
Well, yeah, because I've left it sit here after that happened. I left it sit there, and then I called you, and then it's been sitting here for a couple more months.
Sure.
Yeah, because the way it's warped, it would have had moisture behind it. Because it would swell. It swells on this side.
Yeah, I just left it there, guys, because I said to my husband, I stopped to run the hot water tank.
The hot water heater.
The hot water heater's behind that.
Yeah.
And this is the only access for it?
That's the only access for it.
So you cannot get in from the house? You have to come out here?
Nope, you have to come out here.
Okay.
And we've never come out here because we never needed to.
Kind of crater.
Just like I told you with the alarms going off in the car. The alarms, guys, going off on the car at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Mike and I were petrified. We're like, who's out by the car, right? And the alarm's going off, and the alarm can only go off if something touches it. So then we turn the alarm off, and then don't you know, 10 minutes later it goes on again? It always happens late at night, because we go to bed at like maybe, sometimes I pick him up from work at midnight.
Okay.
And then we're back here at like 12:30, then we'll stay up for like an hour to wind down before we go to bed.
Right.
So 3 o'clock, this was 3 o'clock in the morning when we heard, this was just, about a month and a half ago when I told you?
Sure.
We heard the alarms going off on the car. And I'm like, what the heck? There's nobody here. It's totally quiet. There was no, none of my family. We only have the 3 of us. We were all sleeping.
Is it alright to shine some lights on these windows?
What's that?
Alright to shine some lights on these windows?
Sure, absolutely. See, I had been in the hospital.
What windows do you think? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
What windows, when you say it feels like something's
Oh, it's right
looking at
back
you?
here. Don't mind the back of the house because I have Don't mind the back because I was in the hospital.
Did you be on that?
I was in the hospital for almost 4 months.
I mean, and you could bust the glass out and, you know. If it were a person just wanting to break in.
Oh yeah, they would have busted that window and reached their hand in, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't go up here.
No. Even if it is rotted like that, it's something pulled that down. Something tried to pull that down.
I'm telling you, it's got me freaked out. Mike will be sleeping or at work. Carrie Lynn's in the bedroom, in her back bedroom, and I'll be sitting here, and I will actually feel.
Hey, come check this out, Mike.
Don't mind my mess in there because I got all boxes.
Here's some
Yeah, that's
fingerprints or
schmutz.
some schmutz there.
And it's so dark back here at night, you know, it's so dark. I can sit there and I can feel something staring at me in the window, and then all of a sudden I get creeps and I get goosebumps up and down the back of my arms, and I'm like trying to crawl away because I'm so scared.
See that to the left of that? Might be some fingerprints right there. Or some type of prints.
Yeah, it's on the inside.
On the inside, okay.
Keep walking at all?
Oh yeah, I told Brian that.
Yeah.
I see it here. Right there.
So I have a little book in here.
Right there. Right in that area right there. And like I said to Ryan before, I said, I'm sitting in the car, had dropped Mike off at work, sitting in the car, and I'm feeling something staring at me, and all of a sudden I look between those trees and I see something like darkish, like black, just standing in between the trees, and I was like freaked out. I'm like blinking my eyes. I'm like, what the heck is that?
Can you? So what I have in here, and it sounds kind of crazy, but they're
No,
paint,
I know,
they're
he told me.
paint samples.
Yep.
Can you kind of go through and see if you can find the colors that you
Yep,
might
absolutely.
have seen?
Oh,
I'm going to
absolutely.
be grabbing a thermal camera so we can kind of look at the woods a little bit more. I'm going to pull.
I'm gonna grab a chainsaw like that. But maybe even a little darker between the brown and the black, but it was like dark.
Can you hold that up and point to it so I can see that?
Sure.
So the middle one, okay.
No, this top one right here?
The top one.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'll give you the name on that one. Right.
Sure.
So that is going to be Turkish coffee from Sherwin-Williams.
Okay.
This, if you have any more that are more reddish,
Yeah, so when we actually go into, there's some more stuff in here that's a little
Yeah.
more red, and then the binder itself has got some bigger ones.
it's like, they don't like us talking about them. This is my family we're talking about here. There she is. A month ago, remember? That was about a month ago. It wasn't, that was after.
So I'm trying to get a timeline of kind of like when this all started. You said you moved in here about 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So when did everything kind of, I'm trying to get it from the beginning and take it all the way through so I can learn some of the events and as we
Yeah,
go.
we bought the house in August. We moved in October
Of 22?
of 2021. Because we're going into October 23. Yeah, October 21. So it was pretty much uneventful because winter and that came, and then spring came, and then I ended up in the hospital. So I couldn't give you any recollection. I was in the hospital from April, and I didn't get out of the hospital until the day before September. And then I was in the house with the nurses for 6 months.
So basically the activity really started this year.
Yes, a lot this year.
Okay. And what month, or do you recall when this exactly started? Like April, February, May?
No, I think it started, it had to be early May. early May is when it started to get really freaky because.
And sorry for 1 second. You're recording?
Yes. Red?
Yeah, I just didn't see any countdowns or anything like that.
No.
Oh, there we go. Yep, I see it.
Yeah.
We had seen the beautiful deer would be here, you know? They used to be here a lot. We'd see them like 5 or 6 in the backyard, and we'd see them all down Smith Road over here where when you come in you see the cornfields and that. Well, when, you know, that was when the corn's not there, it's all leveled, so we'd see them all the time over here. And then all of a sudden, when it was May, I think it was like the end of May, that's when we heard that terrible noise.
So you say you heard this noise. What did this noise sound like? Or can you best describe it?
Super creepy, like a kind of like a screeching noise, but it had like a like, you know, like a kind of like a grunty noise behind it.
So when you say screeching, was it like an owl sound?
No, like I told you, like I remember I said to you, it sounded like a baby crying, like real high pitched like that. And I'm like, what the heck? That's how it started out. That's what it sounded like to me.
And that was nearby. You're saying that was
Right there.
okay. So that's probably.
It was right by those trees, right there, where the tree line is right there, where I told you where it comes around that curve. We heard this right here, all in this area right here.
That's probably about 80 yards to that tree line. And you couldn't tell, obviously it was in the tree line, you didn't see anything?
At that time it was in the trees when that noise came. Mike and I came out, he came out of work, and we're like, what the hell is that noise? And he's like, get in the house, right? And I'm freaking out, we're in the house and we're looking out and I couldn't see anything. So then a while later we come out and I told you I was standing there and the deer boom, came flying. There had to be 15 to 20 deer, Ryan. I'm like, there's where all my deer have been. They came flying right out of there where that curve is in the road right there, where you come around like here, Smith,
Sure.
and how it turns and continues on Smith, wherever the turn was. The deer came flying out of there. They come across Ray's front lawn, right by the ditch there. Right here are my ditches. Come flying across my ditch, across, and just kept going. And I haven't seen them then for months.
What time of day was it?
Evening time. It was evening time.
Okay. And you guys had just gotten home and were outside, or were you inside the house?
No, I picked Mike up from work.
Okay.
So
You
was it,
just pulled
when
up?
you say evening, so was it 6 o'clock or
No,
10
like
p.m.?
10:30, like 10:30, because he usually gets out of work at 10 o'clock, and we're home by about 10:30. So this was like, I'm going to say, between 10:30 and 11 o'clock. That's when it was. And everything is so quiet around here. You hear a pin drop. And I'm like, that had me so freaked out, you guys. I was like, and this isn't the first time I heard this. I told you this happened to me when I was over in Elma. I told you, in Elma, Clinton and Girdle area, down, we were out in the backyard. I told you I had the 3 little children and we were sitting there roasting marshmallows, and all of a sudden I had the feeling something was staring at us. And I got freaked out over there, and the kids are like, something bad's out here. Something bad's out here. I'm like, let's go. We get in the house. And then I told you my 16-year-old son was smoking a cigarette outside. He goes, Mom, there's something out there. There's something bad out there. And he goes, I'm getting the hell in the house. And he comes in and locks the door. And he's a toughie. I'm thinking, what the heck?
So,
and this happened quite a few times over at the other house. So it was like, I thought I was away from all of that.
so this was Elma, the previous?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
This was in 2000, about the house in West Seneca, 2010. So this had to be between 2006 and 2009. Like, this was happening frequently over there. And I would come out and Carrie would be in preschool, I'd come out and I'd be cutting my grass in the back, and it had a terrible smell like a wet dog. And I'd be standing out there, and I was like, the night before I kept feeling something staring at us, and I was standing up there, and then I heard that like knock like a woodpecker. I told you, I was hearing like that knock like the woodpecker, and I'm looking for the woodpecker, there's no woodpecker. And I'm looking, and then I'd hear like a pause for like maybe minute or two, and then I'd hear the click again, like from another location, from like a little. It sounded farther away. Come on.
Bit of rough. Now, how long have you had Lucky?
We haven't had Lucky long. Lucky's only just turned 8 months old.
8 months old, but
We've only had him 4 months.
4 months.
So before this started happening, you had him
This
just
happened before I got him.
okay.
Before I got him, we've only had him 3 or 4 months.
So you said this was Elma, the previous. What was the address over there, or the street? Do you remember?
I think it was 7705 I lived on. 7705 Clinton. I was on Clinton and Girdle at the time when that happened. And every time the kids would come, like for like every other weekend they'd come, and we would get that crazy feeling late at night. And that's when I told you I pulled in the yard and I seen those red eyes in the. Remember I told you I pulled in the yard and I seen the red eyes, and I'm like, what the heck? And I kept thinking, oh, it must be a deer.
So these red eyes, that was here?
No, that was it in Elmo when I told you. And I thought, well, that was weird. We left that house because we bought our house in West Seneca. So, for God knows, that could still all be going on there.
Okay. I'd rather just try to focus
we'll
here.
focus
I've
on here.
got some of the backstory, but
Yep.
has anything changed besides the dog? Like, when you came here, did you bring anything different? I'm just trying to put this whole thing together.
Nope. Nope. We bought the house in August. We moved in October. We ended up moving in here the week of Halloween. So everything was good. Like in the winter, we didn't have like anything going on. The only thing, like I told you, is now this past November, we went out to dinner, come back at night, and the tree's gone. The tree's totally over in the yard there.
So let's go back to the beginning. So the first thing you had happen was basically you heard that screeching and screaming, and then the deer took off running.
Yep.
Okay.
The deer took off running.
Kind of after that, I was trying to go in sequential order.
Okay,
like,
and then
what was the next thing that kind of took place?
Then after that was this, when I seen the...
So back to, kind of said that, you heard the screams and everything, and then the next thing was you seen something over in the tree line.
Yep. This had to be end of June. When I was pulled in the yard, and I seen it right there between those two trees. Right here.
Hang on 1 second. What I want to do, for the record. So you're pointing.
See where those two big trees are that are far apart?
Sure.
The one right next to it, in that space right there, is where we seen it right there in that opening right there.
Okay. That's fine.
And at first I went like this. I'm like, like I told you, I felt something staring at me, and I'm looking around. I'm thinking, is my daughter out here? Who's out here? I look over and I see that.
And what time of day was that?
No, this wasn't late. This was like maybe just getting dark. It had to be like maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock. It was just getting dark.
So dusk.
Yeah, dusk.
And you were getting home again?
Yep. I pulled in the yard. Took Mike to work. Pulled in the yard, and not where the big opening is, the one right next to it. I seen it right there, and I'm looking, and that's the one where I seen with the darker color.
I was going to ask you, could you describe it? If you had to guess, maybe the height, or what you were able to see from that distance.
Well, how I knew it was tall, because of the fact is, see where that little bow in that tree was? It was well above that bow in the tree. So that thing had to be about 8-9 feet tall. It had to be, because I'm 6. This had to be probably about 8 feet tall. It was right here.
And you said that was in June.
Yep. That's why I asked you when they have their babies, because that noise was... I don't ever want to hear that noise again. It freaks me right out.
So let me ask you this. How long does it take you to take Mike to work, or where does Mike work from here?
I leave here. It takes about a half an hour to get him to work. He works at Olive Garden by McKinley Mall. And then I take the 219 all the way back, and always down Genesee to Smith. And that's when I was coming back that one night. I told you I was coming back, and I seen the other sighting was over here down the hill. I'll show you, if I'll take you over there, and you can see it was up. I'm coming down the road, and it was up like on the embankment there between the two trees, and it was that darkish reddish color. It was not as dark as the other one. The other one was like a dark like a brown black kind of like.
You get some of the. Oh, you got the color chart in there we can go back to and look in a
Yep.
second. What road were you on again in Alma? Or
Here,
no,
Alma.
in Alma?
I was on Clinton Street in Elma, Clinton and Girdle.
Now, you said you had this second sighting in the ditch over there or on the bend. When was this?
No, I didn't say the bend. It was when I was coming back from taking Mike. I was coming home, and there's a dip in the road. It comes down like the hill,
Okay.
and you come back up. And when I was down in the dip, there's an embankment up there.
Okay. So this was after the first sighting, I'm saying.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
the first one you seen in like June, May. This is around real close to that time frame, or more recently.
No, this is the beginning of this July. Because I heard that screeching, and then I seen this, and that freaked me out. And then I always now I'm always freaked out now, because like when I go to pick him up sometimes at midnight at night, and I jump in the car real fast, lock the
Right.
doors, and I'm driving down Smith Road, and I'm like, I see that open area, and I'm going, and I always got the high beams on and freaking out, because I'm like thinking I'm going to see something again,
Right. So your husband Mike, has he experienced these things too?
Oh yes.
Okay.
He was with me right in bed when that big boom came up the side of the house like that, and he's like, "What the hell is that?" And the next day the door was gone. And like I told you, this just happened a month ago. When I talked to you, I said to you, Ryan, I said, we're laying in bed and the alarms are going off on the car and there's nobody here. And this is like 3 in the morning, and nobody's there.
Yeah.
You're good. Go ahead.
I'll wait.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt what happened here.
Okay.
I just had a question about Alma.
Oh, go ahead.
Did you tell anybody the things that were going on in Alma?
Absolutely, because I went and I started, like I told Ryan, I started right away thinking, if I'm seeing these things and this is going on here, there's got to be some organization that knows about this going on, or people that know about this going on. So then I was connected to this professor. Remember I told you at UB they had a professor at the University of Buffalo that actually studied Bigfoot and the paranormal stuff like that. And that's who I had called. I left the message, and they said to me, well, someone will get back to you. And the woman snickered. I'm thinking, she thinks I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm far from crazy.
Were you in East Alma?
No. Nope. I was, it was Alma, East Aurora border,
Okay.
It goes Alma and then,
Oh, East Aurora, okay.
Alma, East Aurora. Because if you keep going down my street and Clinton, it comes up to 2-rod, 3-rod, all out there.
How far off 20A and Buffalo Creek?
Buffalo Creek.
Nope, not that way. It's off of if you come down Clinton Street off of Transit Road is
78?
Is Transit Road? It's not 16.
That's Buffalo Road.
Near the 400. The 400. When
The
you
expressway.
you come up to 400, you can take Bullis all the way down.
Okay.
And Bullis, if you come over Stoley, that's where I'm real close to. When you come down Bullis, Stoley is between Bullis and Clinton Street. That's where I live. And where I lived, it was right Clinton and Girdle, but there's Jameson Road and everything out there, and that's years ago was all Indian land. And
Jameson Road.
Jameson, and where I was on Clinton and Girdle, there was all Indians that behind my house.
You need to go a little farther north.
Okay.
When you go out behind the house in, Mike, behind the house in Elma, you go far, like in the backyard, and then there's a big huge drop off, and there's all the marshy, the creek used to be down there.
Sure.
And that's where years ago the research was all the Indians settled there.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's any ties with that, but I'm just saying, it's just, that was their land, you know what I mean, years ago. And when I come outside the next day after I heard that, after the kids all got scared and I got scared, it smelled just like a dirty dog, like a wet dog. And the tree was snapped. The tree was, instead of it being up, it was snapped, right, just like it had, like this. And I was like, what the hell? I know it was windy, but it wasn't that windy. And then I was out there cutting the grass, and as I told you, when I heard that, doo-doo-doo, like a woodpecker, and I'm looking, and I'm like, there's no woodpecker around here. I'm looking and looking, and then it stopped. And then there was like maybe a minute pause or so, and then I hear doo-doo-doo again, but it sounded like a little farther off.
Sure.
April, what drew you to this piece of property?
The serenity, the beauty. I wanted to be away from the city.
Okay.
I wanted to be somewhere that was very serene and where I didn't have to hear the cars and the loud music, boom, 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 boom. I just wanted serenity after losing my mother like that. I found her dead. It was so fast. I just wanted to be away from everybody and just, we searched a long time.
For sure.
We searched a long time.
And you have 10 acres, you said here?
No, 2.5 acres.
2.5 acres. Okay. Have you ever heard of Fisher Cat?
No.
Pull up some audio on the Fisher Cat.
And no one around here has ever reported about a deer. No one has
I spotted
reported.
this fisher the other morning, right around dawn, and he spent about 30 minutes on my property. And in that time, he never left us.
It's not that noise. It was higher. The noise sounded like a little bit higher, but there was like a grunting to it.
Okay.
It was more of a higher pitch. It didn't sound like that. Like,
Okay. What I'm looking for is just something close, so we
Okay.
look at the audio, we can go back, and it gives
Sure.
me an idea of some other animals I can give you a comparison
Sure.
sounds to.
sure.
Let's see.
So now back to the incident here with the door. That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
How long ago? That about 2 months now? You're saying?
No, the incident with the door was like right around May. It was the door. Right after the incident we heard with the screeching here.
Okay.
It was the door, the deer running that same night, and then it was the door. It had to be mid-May.
So, walk me through what happened.
Mike and I first came home and we heard that screeching so bad. And I had said to him, I said, what the heck? And we go in the house and come out, and then we seen the deer boom, flying from right around that bend, and he came right across both lawns and kept going this way. We didn't see him at all after that anymore. So then, it had to be like maybe 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, within that month, we heard that boom when we're laying in bed, and this is late at night. This is like maybe 2 or 3 in the morning. We had come home from work. It was one of the nights when he worked until midnight, and then I told you we go to bed at like 1:30, 2 o'clock, so it was after that. Come on, you. Oh, he loves plastic bottles. Don't mind him with the plastic bottles.
He loves plastic. The camera doesn't.
Yes.
It's okay. So you heard the boom, and then that's when the door was ripped off, and you kind of just left it there.
No, I got freaked out, and I was telling you, I was looking at all things about that noise. I was investigating about that noise. I was looking. I always am a big thing on finding Bigfoot. You know, I told you I was going to contact those guys, and I actually tried to, and they said, you know, you can call them on what is it, Animal Planet.
Yeah.
And you told me you met them before, Ned, and I was totally freaked out because I'm like, these things that are happening to me are really scaring me. This isn't like just live here and be peaceful. with nobody around. It's live here. It was peaceful. There's nobody around, but there's something out there that's not human.
What I'm looking at is I'm trying to put this together as there seemed. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
We heard the noise, then we seen the animals run, then it was like within 2 weeks' time the door went flying off like that. And then I talked to you, the first time I talked to you was like maybe what is it, about a month and some change. Just the weekend I think before I talked to you was when the alarm started going off in the driveway, and I said to you, what the heck, there's nobody there. And that's when you had said to me, they could be really upset and throwing things at the car and the alarm will go off. So
I am going to go over and take a look at the cars here.
Sure. That was the car with the alarm was going off?
Yep. So then the alarm goes off, and that freaked Mike and I right out. We jump up and we're like, oh, someone's out there, you know, we're thinking, who's out near our car? Because we never have problems ever, you guys. So we run and grab the keys, turn the alarm off, crawl back in bed, and we're like, my heart's boom, 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 and I'm freaked out about that. I'm like, what the heck? You know, I'm looking, I see nobody. We kept watching, there was nobody. So then it was going to be a good 10 minutes later, we getting back into bed, and he's like, I don't know. And I said, what? I said, I don't know what the hell that was, Mike. And then, boom, it happens again. Like 10 minutes later, the alarm goes off again. Now it's freaking my daughter out, because her bed's right there. Our bedroom's there, way at the end. She's right here. She kept hearing the alarm going off, and then she's like, what was all that going? And I don't want to get her involved too much because...
Right, I completely understand. So did you kind of look at this as, hey, this is Bigfoot right from the beginning, or was this something that like, hey, we got to figure out what's going on? So did you look at other avenues or aspects, or did you just key in right on, hey, this must be a Bigfoot?
No, because I remember like when I lived in Elma, those strange things were happening, like the feeling of something watching us and crazy stuff happening there. And I came here and I'm like, well, I'm open to things. You know, there could be, if there's bears here, there is, but there's not. They tell me there's no bear sightings up this way. There's no bobcats or cougars or anything out this way. We have deer. We have raccoons once in a while,
sure,
but I see them real few and far apart. And I've seen a silver fox coming away on Smith Street when we first moved in, and I hadn't seen him since.
Sure.
And this was when I first moved in. We're talking about October of 21. Haven't seen one since. And I haven't seen the deer. Like I told Ryan, I used to see them all the time. I loved it. That's why I moved out here. I love wildlife. I love nature. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite thing on earth, you know. That's birds. I have my bird feeder, you know, and I think it's so serene, you know. But then the deer were gone. And I'm like, what would drive them away like that?
So, in all, you're having an abrupt decline in wildlife, is what you're saying, essentially.
It's been gone. It's been gone from when I'd see them all the time in the field over there around the corner, I told you. I'd see 7, 8 of them. We'd see them in our backyard here.
Oh, sure.
4 or 5 of them by the tree line and that. Mike and I we'd throw watermelon back there, corn cobs and stuff like that.
Sure.
You know, this is the first time now. The first time was yesterday when I told you when I seen the 2 little ones around the bend, and I was like, wow.
Sure. So, I think we've got mostly everything. Was there any other encounters or transactions between you and Sasquatch or whatever you think it may be?
I don't know what it is, but that's what my take was when I heard that noise. When I heard that noise, and I had watched television, I've been watching things about Bigfoot since I was like 7 or 8 years old, when we were little kids in the movie theater watching the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot, the one that come walking along the beach. That was like years ago. I'm 56 years old. But I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it, you know, until I got to Elma, and that strange stuff started happening, and then here. This is real. That noise was really scary.
When you saw the dark figure,
yeah, right there between them.
Is there any other? Did you see a face? Did
Nope,
you see
I just seen
arms. Did you see legs?
I seen a tall, wide dark figure, and I could not see the face or anything. It's far from where I'm sitting here, but I can clearly see the dark figure, because I looked over and I'm like, I felt something staring at me. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm blinking my eyes. I'm like this.
And then how did that conclude? Did you go in the house? Did you? Okay.
Yeah, watching the whole area and getting in the house.
What I was trying to put together, it seems like there's a recurring theme here. So that's why I was trying to figure out where Mike worked, how far he worked, what it takes you to come back to the house.
Yeah.
Because if there is something out there and it is watching you, it knows the amount of time to be able to come and go as it needed in that half an hour or 50 minutes, whatever it takes you to get back here, 1 hour.
There's a pattern.
There's a pattern, because it seems that every time you leave and you're coming back, you're having some, not every time, but most of the interactions seem to continue to happen as you come back home. Like you've seen it,
Yeah,
you've
like-
heard it.
Like the one night was just getting dusk. You know, I told you it was just getting dark when I seen it here in between the trees.
Sure.
But when Mike and I come back after midnight, when he gets out at like midnight and he comes back home, now we're not home here till 12:30, 12:45.
Right.
That's when we heard that screeching, and that petrified me. That was later at night, and the incident with the door was late at night. The incident with the alarms going off on the car like that was in
Now,
the middle of the night.
Do you happen to know in the vicinity here if there's any like apple trees or any types of vegetation that they could be eating or anything close
I don't
to
know.
here?
I don't know if they eat corn. I don't know. There's the cornfield right here. Then right all here on Genesee Road, and in here there's all apple trees. You can see all the apples on the ground.
Okay.
Now, do you know anybody who's had a sighting of what they believe is Bigfoot?
No, I do not, and I'm like, really, to be honest with you, I don't want to share it with anybody because I don't want anybody to think that I'm crazy. But I know that creature exists. I know it does.
And you're a member of the local parish, right? The local church?
I'm a Eucharistic minister.
Okay. So,
It's just not something that people go out and share, a lot.
no. We have a friend that's a minister that, he's been in quite a few Bigfoot documentaries now and stuff like that. But being in that position, folks would generally confide in you locally if something was off, or they thought maybe they saw something of a paranormal aspect.
Yeah, my neighbor
Yeah.
here, she's belongs to the fire company around the corner, and she's an EMT, but I don't talk to them much at all. And Ray, like I said, he works for the nuclear plant. I don't talk to him. He keeps straight to himself. It's just a hello, goodbye thing.
Did you notice that some of the activity picked up when the kids cleaned out the house?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it was happening prior
started,
to. Okay.
But the activity started a lot in these last few months.
Okay. Well,
Between May and now.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. Prior to moving in here, was somebody else living here or was it vacant for a little while?
The woman that owned the house, she owned it for 7 years. Nancy Anderson, she was a nurse. She lived in Florida during the winter, and she lived here during the summer. So she was only here from like maybe May or June until I think she left always in September or October. She wasn't here long.
Okay. What I was looking at is if they could have been here and using the terrain to travel back and forth, and then you interjected yourself into their normal patterns.
Yes, I could have, because she was only here for a few months, and I'm here all year round.
The other question, you said the kids live with you here at the house?
We have a 22-year-old daughter.
Okay. And nobody's messing with her at all?
No.
Or no?
No.
I come at things at a little different spectrum when I look at the
sure.
big picture of things.
You can look, yes, absolutely. You
And
can
if
ask me anything.
and if she mentioned something to somebody somewhere else that,
No. She would not mention it to anybody. She knows what I seen. She knows what I heard. She heard the alarms going off too, and she's heard plenty of thuds and like, what is that?
Yeah, I'm just somebody that might, sneak by in the middle of the night, try to shake the car or mess with the house or anything. Okay.
She doesn't talk to anybody. She's very intelligent. She's a licensed esthetician, and she's worked with the movie stars, so she does not even. She's a smarty pants.
So she's not super social out there. is what
No,
you're saying.
no,
Okay.
no. She's very
Definitely not a
professional.
social butterfly.
No, she just does. She does makeup. She was trained by Jennifer Lopez's makeup artist. So she, and if you've ever seen the different housewives of New York and New Jersey, she's done their makeup there.
Nice.
And she does weddings and she does proms and minds her business.
And she
Yeah.
has she seen anything on her own or heard anything on her own?
Well, she heard the alarms going off and
Okay.
she heard the thump, the big thuds and stuff going on.
But nothing that you haven't already discussed. Okay.
I don't know. She never has said anything to me.
Okay.
Have you ever asked her outright, like, hey, have you heard anything? Or,
She's heard. Oh yeah, she knew because when I told her that I spoke to you,
Okay.
I said to her that I spoke to you, that the man's coming out. Hopefully he can answer some questions as to what's going on around here. She said, okay, Mom, just let me know when he's coming.
And your neighbors across the street, the ponds and everything like that, have you talked to them at all? Or
No. Their house is not right here. Their house is way down there at the end.
Okay.
They had a mansion at the last, like we call it their mansion, way at the very last
But
house.
their property doesn't come all the way up to
No,
here.
their property's actually over there on Morton's Corners, where the house is.
Okay.
And then they have a pond like over here, and they have animals back there. They have 2 donkeys and some sheep
Okay.
and stables back there.
Hey, do you know their names?
I don't really know. I just see him when he comes by with his tractor, and I'm hello, goodbye.
Is he the little guy running around on the golf cart?
He runs around on the little Kubota, or he'll run around on the golf.
So when we were here, somebody come up and down the road with a little
Golf cart.
little golf, little,
They look like maybe in his 50s.
No, that might
No.
be his son then.
yeah, it's like
The son
20s
lives-
or so.
The son lives right here around this bend in it. The new house they just built.
So
It's
they
a brand
own
new
this.
house.
So they own this whole section through here.
Well, the father owns here,
Yep.
and then there was land for sale, and their son, where I told you where that curve right is, you'll see the new brand new house. It's just been built a few months. It's not.
So they
hasn't been
just
here.
built this house then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this field that I can see through here, the greenery I can see, the light on the other side of this tree line, that belongs to the house on the corner.
I believe so.
And that's where the donkeys and stuff can get all the way down to this field?
No, they don't. They have a barn.
Yeah, but did they have an open pasture land or anything like that?
No. The barn is here, and then they have like you'll see the fencing in there.
Okay.
It's around the front of it.
So who's mowing this section right back here?
The city, the state. This here, all along here.
No.
So if you
on
look
the
through the
if we
woods-
look through the
Oh, if you're looking through the woods, you'll see it. It's the field right here.
Right, he's trying to see who owns that. Like behind those trees, there's a field.
Yeah, behind those trees.
well, who owns the property? Who owns this property across the street from you?
I really cannot tell you that it's him. I would assume it's him because the fact is,
You got
their
your
daughter's
onyx.
house is there, and then their daughter's house is right there, and then there's a next to her house. I always see a long, like a dirt road. So I don't know if it's theirs or not, but I'm gonna assume.
So the
Probably it could be
so
the
the whole
father. It's
family's kind of locked this corner down.
So the name is Sibga. And yes, it's that whole corner.
You have onyx.
I do.
So do I.
He owns he owns a construction company.
Understood. And then the son lives up from him is what you're saying.
It's his house way over here, and then I know that they just built the house there, and that's supposed to be his daughter.
So this house that they built, when was that built?
Brand new. That's only been here.
Like what month?
They started working at it in the wintertime. They were still working at it in the wintertime. I'm gonna say that house was finished maybe 6 months ago.
So was the lot clear cut prior to that, or
Did they have to cut down trees?
And level everything out. They cut down trees and they leveled everything out. And then that whole area was all like foresty next to where their house was. then they have that road going back, so it's like it's a dirt road from like next door to their new house, and then it goes all the way, cut all the way back. I think it must go to his house. I don't know if he's actually the owner, because there's all those. I've been asking for the last couple of years who owns the. I keep asking who owns all these corn, crops, that I see all the time.
Ma'am, you got bit by something?
They were living over there, and they tore it out.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why you caught on real quick. That's what I was thinking. Like, wait a minute, when was that house put in? So there must have been a timber lot that they took out that they might have been comfortable traversing or hanging out over there. And they were forced to disperse probably to this side where all the timber is. So she's getting, that would be my speculation.
And it's
And the apples are up that way.
right, so they would have to,
But they're up that way and they're down that way.
Yeah, and they're that way too. Yeah.
right.
And if this was abandoned, they were cutting right through this yard.
That's what I was thinking. Or on this tree line here,
Yeah.
depending.
Right.
That's what would make the most sense to me, and that's, I didn't
I'm throwing this in the car and then we're gonna...
So basically what you got to see was us talking to the witness, figuring things out. There was a lot of things that we didn't share. There's a lot of things that are cut out, a lot of our deductions and what we would research. And we spent some time looking at that door and around the frame and trying to figure out, what could have taken it off. We kind of try to stay reserved into ourselves, or till we really get a grasp on what's going on. There's a lot of people out there that say they saw something, or maybe they are crazy, or this person to us really didn't seem like they're off their rocker or anything, and some of the things that they were explaining kind of fit the bill, so we understood maybe there was something going on. We did some more investigations, we did some things there. If it was my personal opinion, I believe something traumatized her, something happened, and based on some of the things that we were able to find and see, I would lean toward, hey, she witnessed something multiple times, and something tore that door off. Could it have been a bear? I don't see any claw marks. There was things that we checked above the door, where the door frame on the second door was ripped out. Nobody's going to break in from the top. So it looked like the wood was actually kind of grabbed or grasped onto and ripped down or tore out or broken into. It's an older trailer, and there's been stories of the Sasquatch, eating decayed wood and digging and grubs and who knows. So there's no definitive answer to say, hey, something tore that off of there, etc., etc. But you can just tell from if you go back and look, you can see where it was like grabbed and ripped off. But I hope you enjoyed this. We're gonna do more interviews with a lot of people. I've got some other videos and things like that. I like to share, because people don't see what really goes into this, where we have to travel, what we have to do, who we talk to, the whole 9 yards. I just like to get a grasp of my whole region. I'd like to try to find out where these things may travel and where people are seeing them, and then I could put my map together and my website and the whole 9 yards. So I appreciate you guys. Have a good one.